Well, good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Trap Lines and Inlines. Me and the dog are back in the bush here. We're back giving her here, and we're today in this episode we're going to be putting the roof on the chicken coop here. First thing we're going to do here is build like a little support for this ridge board here, and it'll be a lot easier to place this ridge board here by myself with these here supports. So this is an 18.5-inch piece, and this is an 8-foot wall, so I've marked 4 foot, and then I'm lining that to the center of this board, right? So this isn't really ideal angle nailing it like this. Oh, sorry, you're probably shaking there. I should have nailed it from the bottom of the top plate before I put the top plate on, but it'll work just dandy anyway. So we're gonna line that up nice and straight. Okay, now that we got this 18.5-inch board in here, now we're going to take two that are 19.5 inches, and we're going to angle nail them into the top plate and then nail them into this center support. That way, this is an inch higher, which is about as high as I can go without interfering with the rafters that need to hit the ridge board here. So these are 19.5 inch higher, and then we'll have a nice slot to stick that ridge board in, nail it in, so that it's nice and easy to set here all by myself, and it'll be good and sturdy. So we'll show you the finished product here. Okay, now both of our supports are ready to go here. So with this distance, the top of our ridge board is going to be 2 foot high, which gives us a decent slope. It's not too aggressive for sure, but it'll be pretty damn good here. And with these nice little slots we've created, it makes it really easy to place this ridge board all by yourself, eh? So let's put this here up, boys. See, I've just got it in the other slot there. Now I just got it pull it out far enough that it'll fit here. Sorry, the camera's probably shaking pretty bad. There we go. Deadly. Now we'll just line this here edge flush with our brace, or support, or whatever you want to call it. Now we gotta check here, make sure everything's plumb. You see, that's pretty good, but this doesn't look all that great. Yeah, this side needs to go in further, so you just want to play with this a bit. Okay, so I haven't fully nailed the piss out of this here brace quite yet, because I wanted to make sure I get it nice and level, or nice and straight and plumb with the wall, because it's very important, otherwise your whole roof is going to be a little bit fucked. So we got that good now, so you can move it around a bit. This side needs to come forward, so we can just push that, pull that in rather, just because it isn't nailed in all the way yet, eh? It's pretty darn good right there. Yeah, perfect. So now we make sure our edge of the board is flush right with the edge of our support, and we can nail this from right here into the board. Okay, that's looking pretty deadly here now. Everything's good and level and plumb and deadly. Okay, so now it's time to get our rafters figured out here, and I'm going to show you the exact rafters you need, the exact angle and bird's mouth you need for this exact roof. But if you're planning on building a little different roof with just your rise and your run and a couple basic measurements of your roof there, you can find all the information you need on an online generator. Just give it a Google search, say rafter calculator, you'll be set. But I've already figured these out, and I've tested one already here now. So I'm very positive it's going to be deadly. So we're going to cut these at 70 inches long and that'll give us a nice overlap. I played around, or overhang there. I played around with that a little bit. And then I'm going to mark 53.5 inches. So this here is going to be our bird's mouth cut here. And this is going to be the end of the rafters. So I'm just taking my speed square, drawing nice straight lines there. Okay. So now, you see I got my speed square here, and there's angles all along here. Angles all along the hypotenuse of the triangle. What we do is we move this out. You see we got a pivot here, but we move this out, and this is for our bird's mouth cut here. So I'm gonna, the angle of this roof that we're gonna cut the rafters, the rafter ends to, and our bird's mouth cut is 24.2 degrees. Now 0.2, that's really specific, so I just, like 24 degrees, you're gonna be perfect, right? So I'm moving this until this number here reads 24. Okay, I'm at 30 actually, but I'll move this here till I'm at 24. And then I'm going to draw an angle, and this is my bird's mouth, eh? So I'm going to draw this right to 1.5 inches, because that's how the depth I want that at. I think you can make it a little bit smaller, but this way it's good. This will be the thickness of the top plate. Okay. So now you need a 90 degree, a right angle here. What I do is we want this cut to be 3.5 inches long, so it sits the whole distance of our top plate, the whole wide distance. So what I kind of do here is I just line it up. So we're 3.5 degrees to this previous line I've drawn, or we're 3.5 inches lines right up here. So now I've got a 90 degree, and this is the perfect bird's mouth cut. But you can see I've just, where 3.5 inches on my speed square lines right up with the 1.5 inch mark I made previously. That's what I was going off of there. So that is perfect. Now we're gonna take and we're gonna cut both ends of these rafters, because we're gonna put our boards on the end and we want them nice and straight. And I'm very likely going to be having a rainwater collection system here to water the chickens with, eh? Because we are off the grid big time. So now we'll take our speed square and give ourselves another 24 degree here, and we'll draw our line. Now it's very easy. I've done it many times to put put your angle cuts on the wrong facing the wrong way here. So you want to make sure, if this cut is angled this way, you want this one to be angled that same way. Otherwise, it's going to be fucked. And I've done that far too many times. Okay, so now we'll take your time, really take your time on this here first one, because this is going to essentially be our master rafter. We're going to cut this one here now. We're going to check fitment, first of all. And then we're going to use this rafter to develop all of our other rafters. So stay tuned. And I'll probably show you a little bit more on finding the angle here. So yeah, it's gonna be deadly. Anyways, boys, stay tuned. Okay, I'll just give you a little better close up here. You can see I have angles here, 10, 20, 30. So I put my pivot here wherever this is. So this was here, or no, rather, it was over here like this. And then I move this end out. And when that lines up 24 degrees with the end of the board, then you draw your line, okay? And now for my bird's mouth, I drew my line exactly where this bird's mouth needs to be, which is 53.5 inches down the board, if you're following the same roof that I am. And then from here, we put it nice on our line here, got our pivot lined up. Then we bend it to 24 degrees. And then you can see I drew that line right to where it's 1.5 inches on my speed square. And then from there, what I was saying is I just found where 3.5 inches lines right up with that mark, eh? The end of that line I drew. So now I got a bird's mouth cut to the right angle, so it's going to sit in there perfectly, and it's going to be 3.5 wide, so it'll sit right flush perfectly on that top plate, and the end will be the exact same depth as the top plate as well. So anyways guys, now we're gonna cut this here out and we're gonna check the fitment. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm just doing all the cutting with my skill saw here. You have to pull back the guard to do these angle cuts, otherwise it kind of binds, eh? Didn't want to cut very nicely now, did it? No worries. Okay, awesome. Okay, you see here, I've cut a little X into the bird's mouth. It didn't cut worth a prick, but I got my line nice and straight. You see, you're always left with this, eh? This little chunk here left in the end. And I don't really like dragging that saw all the way along so the widest part of the blade hits it. So I usually just come back. It takes about 3 seconds to just trim that bit up quick with the handsaw. Okay, very important to check fitment. First thing we do. So first thing you do, check your angle. It needs to be cinched up there a little bit. That's essentially perfect. And you see, it's about as high as I can go. And that's why I cut this one so a little bit shorter than I would have liked. So I can still run my rafter here. And this is gonna be real well and supportable, double rafter on this here outside. And then you can check out my bird's mouth cut here. See, that's just perfect. It needs to be nailed in there so it's not quite perfectly snug, but it's pretty damn deadly, guys. Well, it took a while, but finally got all the rafters cut. But getting pretty late here in the north, and me and the dog, we're gonna fry up some dinner here and get a few things ready at the cabin there before we call it a night. So this will be a to be continued type deal here. We'll get all those rafters laid out there tomorrow morning and get her all looking deadly there. So stay tuned, guys. Well, back at her this morning, flying right along. I tell you, when you cut all those rafters right at once and you can really zip along there. Oh Jesus, sun's real bad. I'll get to the other side here, but got quite a few rafters placed here already. Geez, the lighting just always terrible in this here video. Yeah, so just getting them going along. Yeah, they're pretty damn easy to place. Once the tricky part's all the cutting and measurements and all that stuff. They go up nice. We're using the same dimensions we used on these 12-foot walls for the stud length. So you can see, holy Jesus, this lighting, sorry guys. So you can see every single rafter is sitting on top of a stud. Right directly on top of a stud. So it's using the exact same measurements. They're at, I'll put the dimensions on the screen here of the rafter, of where to place the rafters, and I marked on the main beam and then on each top plate there, and she's going up real nice here. Hopefully you can see a little better from up here. I'm happy with the overhang, and yeah, I'll strap you onto the head cam here, and we'll put some in here. Okay, let's put up some rafters here. So I like to rotate sides when I do this. So we'll go 2 on one side, 2 on the other kind of thing. If that makes any sense, you'll see here. But when you put your first one in, you can nail it from the board and nail it nice and straight in there, and that's deadly, eh? So let's just get this one started. Okay, I started a bit far, but that'll be fine. Okay, line it up with our mark here. Want to have the top of this pretty darn flush with our board here. Well, then I'll nail this one in here. It's just got to come in a little bit. So you want your edge to be nice and flush like this here, huh? So okay, we'll grab another rafter here and we'll nail that bird's mouth in a sec when I'm over on that side with my ladder. And line this one up. I got marks on the top plate and right up here, eh? See how nice and flush that is? How deadly that is? That's what we want, bud. Now it's just gotta come over to this side a little bit. I'll just manipulate it a bit there, but see how nice our edge is there? I'll put 2 through the top here. And I always like to nail the angled piece before the bird's mouth. And it's very likely that I overdo it on the nailing, but away she goes, bud. And I'm angle drilling or angle nailing the sides in here. Deadly. Now we'll jungle jimmer over to this side. And you see our bird's mouth cut here. I got my line right there. So this isn't really ideal here because if you can see here, like my 3-inch nail just barely penetrates her from the top. So I do this just to hold it in, but it'd be ideal if I had 3.5-inch nails right here. Make sure that's good and seated. You see how nice and crisp and flush and deadly that bird's mouth is? Proud of that. Oh. And then I'll put one through either side of it. I guess you can nail from in behind too, but it ain't going anywhere. And there, that's how you install your rafter. You can see how nice and clean that is. And put my forehead down lower here. Ah, fuck. See how nice and clean that bird's mouth is too? That's what we want. Anyways, guys, stay tuned. We'll show you some more getting around here and get this roof licked here real deadly. So what I meant when I said I rotate them, so I just finished this one. Now we'll do this one over here, nail it in from the back. And then I'll do the one on this side and then one more, just kind of balance things out and keeps that ridge board nice and straight so you don't get any funny shit going on. Just my opinion on it. Okay, I got all the rafters put up here now. Didn't take long at all. And now we're gonna start. Got a little bit left to do here before we're done this here roof. So you see I just started on my triangular frame in there at the peak on the ends there. But all my rafters are in and looking awesome. Jesus, lighting around here, hey fuck. So there's a couple things you can check, make sure you're deadly there. You can look down here, make sure these are all nice and straight, because they're gonna need to be for when we put our end board on here. Yeah, so we just got to put on our end board and do a little bit of triangular framing, which can be a little tricky, but we'll get her figured here, so stay tuned. Okay, well, the sun's in the fucking road again. So we're doing some, we got to put a couple little studs here to hold it all together nice and sturdy. But you can see I found 14.5 inches from this board, so 16 on center, and up top here too. And then I measured my greatest distance, which was 12 3/4. You see how that fits right nice in there. So this from here to here is 12 3/4 to the highest of the angled side there. And what we need to do is cut that angle into it. So if you're using a scale saw, whatever you're using, you just gotta set your blade to the angle, and this is the same 24.2 degree angle that we cut our rafters at. So all we got to do here is cut that, and I might put another one in here too, but it would be like right here, so it would be pretty darn dainty, but it's plenty, sir. I probably will here. So we need 4 of these 12 3/4 with that angle in them, and then I'm gonna find the distance of this here next one as well. So I found what size piece I needed, and I ran these are 16 on center, these little ones here, and I found what size piece I need, and that is 12 3/4 for this one and 5 1/4 for that one. So once I got that figured out, I cut 4 of each, and then you don't even have to measure for the next ones, because there's only one place they're gonna fit in, eh? There's only one place they're gonna go, so it's actually not that hard to do, eh? So yeah, just got to put the end boards on here now, and we are done with the roof here. Off for home, my boy. Should probably go get some more supplies, then camp out again at bush camp. Okay, all we got left for this roof now is the end board, and this is why we cut the angle. Oh shit. This is why we cut the angle on the bottom side of our rafters, and this is gonna hold our eavesdropping, and it adds quite a bit of structural integrity. So even if you're not gonna have eavesdropping or anything like that, it holds all your rafters together nice and deadly, and it takes fuck all to do, right? So this is a 12-foot 2x4, cut it exactly 12 feet, and I've put some nails on the bottom of the rafter tails here at the very end there, so it'll kind of hold into place. Otherwise I don't stand a chance of getting this one started. Oh. So I'll just get a nail started here. Okay, so now what I need to do, I got my end lined up flush, but I want to make sure, so I'll take my speed square here, and you want to place it along the rafter. You see, I got nice and in line with the rafter here, so I got my straight line, and I want to butt this end board right to that edge, so it's a nice straight line from the rafter all the way to the edge of this board. That way when we put our plywood on there, we'll hang the plywood and nail it right to this end board. If this is too high, you're going to have problems. That board's going to rot out. So it takes nothing to do. Okay, now that nail's going, we'll check it again. Yeah, looking awesome. It's very important to do. And you want to make sure you don't nail this too low, because there's not much on the bottom of this rafter tail, eh? So just keep her kind of a-okay. I don't want to nail that in fully yet because it might bend a bit. I gotta drop that back end down a bit. But I just put 2 nails through each rafter tail here, and you're just constantly checking, making sure that they line up, and if they don't, you gotta move it to line up, eh? So almost done. We'll show you the finished product. There you have it, boys and girls. That's one dandy fine looking roof. Walk you around a bit here. Yeah, everything went together as it should. No issues there. You see these are nice and straight. All my rafters are the same length, which is good. Bird's mouth is mint. Yeah, it just really came together nice here, guys. So this is awesome to finally get done. I wish I had plywood here to do my sheathing here now, or OSB rather, not the Royal Bank, but yeah, so turned out pretty darn good there, boys. For guys new to the channel, you're like, what in the hell is your structure so big and Strong for it's only for chicken coop. Hey, it's only gonna have chickens in it. Well, I tell you what, we live in the heart of bear country, me and the dog. So, if I just had one of those puny little cute fucking box things that I see all the time, these tiny, they're like 2 foot high. Those little things, that would just turn into a bear bait station. So, but this here looks quite a bit taller than it is because it's propped up with rocks, but it's a big structure. You could live in the damn thing, no doubt. And I just want to give a huge shout out here to all the guys that have helped support the channel with the merchandise and the continuous commenting, and all the guys that are always watching. That you guys are the best, man. It's actually overwhelming how much support I get from just the small little viewer base that I have. You know, I can't thank you guys enough. It makes my day here, and makes these videos possible, makes it fun for me, eh? So I don't say it quite enough here, but huge thank you to you guys. Anyway, guys, that's it and all for this episode of Trap Lines and Inlines. And the next episode of this series, and likely the next video on the channel, will be doing all the plywood sheathing, and then you got to put the shingles on, paint it up fancy, insulation, vapor barrier, all that fancy shit, eh? It's just going to be built like a house, huh? So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Me and the dog are headed home for some supper.